Hello and welcome to Network. My name is Spumelele Zondi with your technology and social media news. Remember that if you want to be a part of this tech conversation, you can find us on SABC Network. Now that's on Facebook, Twitter and Instagram. It's newsnetwork at sabc.co.za on email. This week, our Twitter poll is asking if you think there should be laws that govern what people post about other people on social media. This is after a British woman was arrested in Dubai after she posted something about her ex-husband's new wife. But first, here's what's coming up in the program. Huawei is facing problems of trust in other parts of the world, but in South Africa, they've launched a few new products. And we go to Nigeria, where property tech is taking off. Our discussion this week is looking at social media shutdowns across the African continent. Now, Huawei is planning to launch a 5G in Israel, but there are people who are saying that they do not trust the company. Here in South Africa, Huawei has launched a few new products that include 2 new phones.
Global tech company Huawei held its annual EcoConnect event in Johannesburg, bringing together industry experts and partners for an update on its plans for the South African market.
EcoConnect is a global principle that we roll out in every region and in every country that we are part of and that we are established in. For South Africa, so Huawei EcoConnect South Africa, it's one of the key industry events, I would say, from an industry organization like Huawei. So it's our event where we are not so much trying to tell the world or tell South Africa who it is that we are and what it is that we do, but we predominantly provide a platform, digital platform, for people and for organizations and institutions to link, to connect, to network, to share experiences and to learn from and perhaps even to leverage those partnerships.
Huawei also introduced new innovation in Internet of Things, and 2 new cloud centers are set to go live in Johannesburg and Cape Town.
Behind the numbers is a huge investment in R&D and huge investment into the critical technologies which will drive the world to the digital one. So including the 5G, AI, Internet of Things, big data and cloud. So those technology across board will help the future to bring the world more digital.
Despite security concerns, Huawei says it has good working relationships with most countries and that security is an important element of its business.
We're supporting governments and government departments like ministries, institutions and agencies and government bodies, so to speak, in what we call their digital transformation process.
Last week, the company presented its new flagship phone with the hope to make further gains in South Africa.
Huawei is always about capturing special moments, capturing experiences, and we want to give you the best quality in that. So I think if you look at the P30 series, we've really pushed the boundaries in terms of what is possible in terms of mobile photography. And when I say possible, it's not just a hardware configuration, but looking at photography as an art form. You know, common people, a person like myself who's not a pro photographer, I have no understanding of how does ISO and white balance and all of these things affect the output of the photograph. So you don't even need to be a pro, but just being completely auto with one simple click, getting the best possible pictures, I think this is really what P30 series represents.
With 4 rear cameras, including a so-called time-of-flight camera that helps its artificial intelligence create better exposure, Huawei P30 Pro aimed to take on Samsung's Galaxy S10 and Apple's iPhone X. The phone has a new light sensor that detects yellow rather than green, a development it said significantly boosts light absorption to create better results. Members of the media who have played with it loved what they have experienced.
P30 does wonderful things, and especially for us designers, we work with lots of fabric and we back and forth with clients in terms of color, texture.
They've widened the LED, which I'm super excited about, and there's what do you call this? I think it's a sensor, like a face sensor where they sense your face. But most importantly, I'm very excited about the fingerprint.
And I think them working with people like Gisela and George that really have to capture fashion every day is really great.
Huawei has been under much international scrutiny following US allegations that the Chinese giant product could be used by Beijing for spying. The firm has strongly rejected the allegations and earlier this month sued the US government over the issue.
A hub to teach small businesses how to use Cisco products has opened in Durban.
We have said this because we are saying we're in the fourth industrial revolution. Therefore, it's crucial for us to make sure that our people have the skills that help them to respond and create that innovation that is required by the fourth industrial revolution. As we said, building a capable army is something that is very close to our hearts. Having centers like this by Cisco then give us pride to say in the 1 million target that we're talking about as the department, it therefore bridges that divide of ensuring that there's a contribution. But as we talk of the economic growth, it therefore puts it at the heart of that we want to do as government, to say how do we work and make sure that these partnerships that we have, they work towards helping us achieve the goal that we want to achieve. And of course, who are better placed to contribute positively towards the GDP that we're talking about? The SMMEs. Now our people are going to have access, not just read about it, hear about it, they have access to the technology that they themselves will find opportunities to say, how do we make sure that we customize this to suit our needs, but most importantly, how do we make sure that we commercialize the ideation process that we have started as innovators.
Cisco cares about economic growth in South Africa, and more importantly, we care about reducing unemployment in South Africa. And one of the ways we're going to do that is to simulate the small business sector. And what we're going to do is be working with small business partners in the ICT space and give them an opportunity to train, develop and design business solutions that they could sell out to the market. And what you see here today in Cisco Edge is a platform in which they can work with Cisco, collaborate with subject matter experts and design solutions based on Cisco's platform that is largely cloud-based. And what we want these small partners to do is develop their solutions that they own on top of Cisco's platforms that solve business challenges.
Cisco have got an incubator here where they provide an opportunity for small companies, young people to come in and get familiar with their technology, which is leading and cutting edge technology. So for us, the value is enormous, to have a large international company like Cisco basing such an operation here at Durban Trade Port.
There's a lot of construction happening in Nigeria at the moment, and with that, tech businesses are seeing a way of creating tech solutions for the property market. Prop tech is taking off in Nigeria.
Nigerians searching for their dream home to buy or rent are turning to the internet in droves, leading to a surge in the number of property-focused technology firms. The emergence of these prop tech companies is due to the country's rapid population growth, faster broadband speed and cheaper smartphones that have also benefited other sectors from retail to gambling in the last few years.
We saw the market take up somewhere around 2014 when the use and advent of smartphone came down to Nigeria. Smartphones are cheaper, so people could access this information a lot more easier than they would have years before. So the fact that smartphone got cheaper, data got cheaper as well. WhatsApp, became a boom. So that activity helped people to understand that they can get online a lot more cheaper, and they could do things a lot more smart and a lot more efficient.
The country's prop tech companies typically adopt a subscription model, charging property agents a listing fee and property developers a commission on completed transactions. But risks are attached to the convenience of online listings in Nigeria's largely unregulated property market.
The major challenge that they are facing is really in access to actual properties that have been provided by the actual property owners. Some people find out that their properties have been listed on platforms and they don't know how that happened. And then again, we also find out that even for properties that have been instructed to actually dispose by the owners, have myriads of agents that are marketing this problem.
Nigeria has the highest number of internet users in Africa, with approximately 107 million internet data subscribers, an increase of around 85% over 5 years, according to the country's Communications Commission.
It is SABC Network on Facebook, Twitter and Instagram. News Network at sabc.co.za on email. After the break, we chat to Amanda Mate about social media shutdowns across the African continent. Stay with us.
It's not about xenophobia.
There are many issues of service delivery, housing, illegal mushrooming of structures.
They are now starting to move to Sandton and to submit a memorandum.
You're not going with tires there. That's all. I will stop this march here.
When we were bending tires in the inner Alexandra, they kept quiet because now we are going where they report. That is why they are having a problem.
We feel really undermined and disrespected that he did not show up to listen to our grievances. He has grown a tendency of only serving the so-called white monopoly capital and has forgotten about black communities. Development must happen either or of all sides because we are equally Batu.
But the people here today are saying service delivery to us, we deserve it.
SABC Network on Facebook, Twitter and Instagram. Welcome back. I'm in front of the backdrop of Durban. Now, this week, Chad has spent a year without social media. We're talking to Amanda Mate about social media shutdowns across the African continent. They've happened in the Democratic Republic of Congo, they've happened in Zimbabwe, they've also happened in Ethiopia as well. Amanda Mate, thank you very much for joining us. Now, maybe if we start by explaining why some governments would block social media access.
Well, let's be honest. First of all, our governments are aged, not participating in the digital revolution. Yes, we're talking fourth industrial revolution, but the participating and the actual engagement on the ground in terms of dissemination of information is not there. The other aspect is the fact that it's a lot of accountability. If people have more access to information, it means government is held accountable on a different scale. And it also means that people are able to make different voting decisions. So in the context of Africa, we've seen and known that a lot of countries are blocking or putting rules or regulation in place, arresting bloggers to the extent of trying to minimize aspects of yellow journalism and also authentic media journalism.
But someone might say that there are people who use social media to spread disinformation, so then maybe governments are justified in this.
Not in the context of Africa. We haven't seen that much surgence of fake news in the context of actual political coverage, in the context of voting coverage, or in the context of just people coverage. When we talk people coverage, we mean protest action and service delivery related matters. What we have seen fake news about has been relating to either entertainment or celebrity based or politicians involved in non-appealing matters. In that context, yes, maybe perhaps we may look at regulation, but not necessarily arrests or to the degree of censorship. That's a dangerous ground we're entering in as a people.
And social media is also changing the way we do business as well, is it not?
Social media is shaping and changing the way people are engaging information. Simple shows that have seen changes in the way that we view people. For example, PW. For example, a lot of reality TV shows that have sprung up in the South African media playing field have sparked a lot of conversation and a lot of backflap. So, for example, Black Twitter, perceived as one of the growing platforms of commentary, criticism, and social media propagandering, in itself should be allowed to exist, because it brings about a different kind of conversation amongst people in a different class and in different communities across South Africa. South Africa has actually the strongest Black Twitter movement, second to that of America. So that means our people are wanting to have conversations. Perhaps the movement should not necessarily be toned down or controlled, but rather guided as to how. What you don't want is a situation where, for example, xenophobic attacks perpetuated by false information or previous stories or misguided information that was previously shared 2 years ago.
And who guides these conversations that you're talking about? Because someone else might say that blocking social media access might be one way of guiding the conversation.
It's a collective conversation. You need your academia, you need your practical guys, you need your bloggers. You need to set up a forum in which the discussion takes place. We bring in the journalists, we bring in the policymakers. It cannot be an exclusive conversation set forth by government only. Government is purely there to guide and facilitate the already existing policies in place to assist those that are entering the field. So a blogger is not prone or access to policy, but in a forum where they can sit and engage a policymaker allows for them to be educated enough to understand the impact of what they may be writing.
Let's say social media was blocked here in South Africa. What would users be blocked from exactly?
Well, let's see. I remember a tweet by Bonang that said, wow, these days people are very quiet, and the whole notion was around MTN not providing free data, right? So that in itself, the access to actually be able to write, check up on what's going on, engaging people online, that access is very critical. And if we're saying blocking people, we're blocking them down to data. And data access is actually the first key thing that's a challenge for most people. Second to that is actually blockage of actual sites. We know that in China that's already happening and taking place. And they're not given the full use of every platform, but minute access to the platforms in whatever way. Imagine a South Africa, new democracy, new set of generation, new set of people, not being able to access Twitter or Facebook to its fullest end, brings about a very dangerous platform for people to then begin what could be seen as a socialist movement or social changes that are negative, not necessarily positive for the country.
And who determines what this positive information is?
You know, they say good news and bad news are still news. Regardless of whether it's negative, we need the criticism. We need the constructive analysis. We need the accountability. We're moving into a different world and into a different era of information. And if we're blocking access to information for a country that's still deprived on just network coverage and data access, we are building a mass populace that will be very dangerous and volatile once they understand the value of information. The key is not to control the information. The key is to guide the context of information that's provided and provide the clarity.
All right, Amanda Mate, thank you very much for being a part of our network. We also caught up with Pearl Tusi. She told us what her favorite technology is.
Hi, I'm Pearl Tusi, the real Black Pearl, and my favorite piece of tech, I mean, everybody's favorite piece of tech is their phone. So my phone is definitely at the top. That's where I have my work life running, my personal life running. I have my exercise apps, my meditation apps in there. My whole life is in here, basically. So I'd have to say my phone. But if I'm trying to be original, I think I would say my favorite piece of tech is my camera.
We're explorers. We always have been. Endlessly curious. Always looking for answers. For new frontiers. For new stories. Because that is who we are. From script to screen. From yelling action to taking you on a journey. radio producers, script writers, on-air presenters, news reporters, sports analysts. We spend late nights creating captivating storylines and earlier mornings keeping you informed, educated, and entertained. For us, it's not a job, it's a calling. We do this and more because you do your part. SABC TV licenses, made possible by you.
It is SABC Network on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. And now welcome back. Here's what else took place in the tech space in the rest of the world.
Lab-grown meat cultured from the stem cells of animals is considered by many to be a sustainable and ethical solution to the demands of the meat industry.
The challenge is to grow cultured meat in a cost-effective way on a large enough scale where it can really achieve the goals of food security and addressing climate change associated with food production. So what we're working on is developing a system, a bioprocess that enables us to grow cultured meat on a large scale in a cost-effective way.
And now heading over to South Korea. The Asian country has become the world's first to launch 5th-generation networks. 3 national mobile carriers introduced the first 5G-enabled smartphone, the Samsung Galaxy S10, across Seoul on Friday. One of the mobile carriers, LGU Plus, has collaborated with Chinese tech giant Huawei in deploying 5G base stations at over 10,000 sites. The service is also available in other major cities outside Seoul. South Korea reportedly hopes to extend its 5G networks to 85 cities by the end of the year. Still in South Korea. Cutting-edge technology in eco-friendly and autonomous vehicles has highlighted the ongoing 2019 Seoul Motor Show in Goyang City, with the number of exhibitors hitting a record high. In recent years, the show has also paid greater attention to artificial intelligence and big data, and the days when world premieres and scantily clad models were the main attractions at auto shows seem to have gone.
After a British woman was arrested in Dubai for calling her ex-husband's new wife a horse on social media, we're asking you on Twitter if you think that there should be laws to govern what people say about other people on social media. Now, 61% of respondents to our poll say yes, there should be these laws to govern what people say about others on social media. There's 26% of you who say no, there should be no laws at all about this. And there are 12% of respondents who are saying that they don't actually know. All right, and that's all we have for you from right here in Durban. From me and the rest of the team, you can find us on social media. It is SABC Network on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. If you prefer sending email, that's newsnetwork@sabc.co.za. From me and the rest of the team right here in Durban, have a good one. Bye-bye.